Good day, everyone. In this session, I am focusing specifically on KMO2, KTO4. This session is about the roles and responsibilities of employees in preventing shrinkage and losses. I want to make it clear from the start that today's focus is not on definitions, calculations, or housekeeping standards. It is about behavior, accountability, and responsibility in the receiving and dispatch environment. I will be explaining not only what you must do, but why you must do it, and what happens when these responsibilities are ignored. In every organization, systems, procedures, and controls are designed to reduce losses. However, these controls only work when employees apply them correctly. In the receiving and dispatch environment, people interact directly with stock, documentation, and systems on a daily basis. This means that employee behavior plays a direct role in whether losses are prevented or allowed to occur. When I take my responsibilities seriously, I strengthen the control system. When I take shortcuts, I weaken it. Shrinkage often does not happen because systems are missing, but because procedures are ignored or applied inconsistently. This is why this KTO focuses on people rather than processes. As an employee, I am part of the control environment. My actions either close gaps or create gaps. Understanding this helps me realize that preventing losses is not only management's responsibility, but my responsibility as well. Now I am going to explain what roles and responsibilities mean in practical workplace terms. A role refers to the duties I am expected to perform as part of my job. Responsibilities go further than duties. Responsibilities include accountability, ethical behavior, and the obligation to protect the organization's property and interests. In receiving and dispatch, responsibilities are linked to trust. The organization trusts me to handle stock correctly, to record information accurately, and to follow procedures consistently. If this trust is broken, losses increase and investigations become necessary. Understanding my responsibilities helps me make better decisions at work. It guides how I behave when I am busy, when pressure is applied, or when someone asks me to ignore a rule. Responsibilities do not disappear under pressure. They become more important. Let me now explain the general responsibilities that apply to every employee. As an employee, I have a responsibility to act honestly and ethically at all times. This means I do not steal, I do not assist others to steal, and I do not hide mistakes or losses. Ethical behavior also means I do not justify wrongdoing by saying that losses are small or common. I am also responsible for following workplace procedures exactly as they are designed. Procedures exist to manage risk. When I skip steps or take shortcuts, I increase the risk of losses and errors. Following procedures consistently protects the organization and protects me. Another responsibility is protecting company property. Company property includes stock, equipment, tools, documents, and information. I must ensure that property is used correctly, stored safely, and not removed or misused without authorization. I am also responsible for professional communication. When I notice a problem, I do not remain silent. I report issues through the correct channels so that corrective action can be taken before losses increase. I will now focus specifically on responsibilities during receiving activities. When I am involved in receiving goods, I act as a critical control point. My responsibility is to ensure that what arrives physically matches what is expected according to documentation. I begin by ensuring that the receiving area is controlled and that only authorized people are present. Receiving is a high-risk area for losses because external parties are involved. Maintaining control reduces opportunities for theft and errors. I then verify quantities carefully. This means I count accurately and do not guess or rely on assumptions. Incorrect counts at receiving lead to stock discrepancies later in the process. I also verify item details, such as product descriptions, item codes, batch numbers, or expiry dates where applicable. Receiving incorrect items is also a form of loss because it affects stock accuracy and customer service. I inspect the condition of goods. If items are damaged or tampered with, I record and report this immediately. I do not sign documentation until verification is complete because signing early removes a key control step. If discrepancies are identified, I follow escalation procedures. I record the issue, report it to the appropriate authority, and ensure corrective actions are taken. I will now explain responsibilities during dispatch activities. Dispatch is the final internal control point before stock leaves the organization. My responsibility is to ensure that the correct stock is released in the correct quantities to the correct destination. I only dispatch stock against authorized documentation. If documentation is missing or unclear, I stop the process and escalate the issue. Unauthorized dispatch is a major cause of losses. I verify item identity and quantities during picking and packing. Accuracy during dispatch prevents customer complaints, returns, and financial losses. I ensure that stock is packed and handled correctly to prevent damage during transit. Poor handling results in damaged goods, which increases shrinkage. I also ensure controlled handover. Stock is only released to authorized individuals and proof of handover is obtained where required. This creates accountability and traceability. Next, I will explain accountability and traceability and why they matter. Accountability means that actions can be linked to specific individuals, times, and records. Traceability means that stock movements can be followed throughout the process. Strong accountability protects both the organization and the employee. When records are accurate, investigations can identify where issues occurred and corrective action can be taken. I am responsible for completing documentation accurately, using my own system access, and avoiding informal shortcuts. Proper records prevent confusion and reduce the risk of unjust blame. I will now discuss reporting responsibilities. Reporting is a critical responsibility in preventing shrinkage. I must report missing stock, damaged goods, suspicious behavior, and process failures as soon as they are identified. Reporting is not about blaming others. It is about preventing future losses. Early reporting allows the organization to respond quickly and strengthen controls. I follow the correct reporting channels and provide accurate information. Delaying or avoiding reporting increases risk and accountability. I am now going to explain compliance and consequences. Compliance means following organizational policies, procedures, and codes of conduct. Compliance ensures consistency and fairness in how work is performed. Non-compliance can result in disciplinary action, warnings, suspension, or dismissal depending on severity. In some cases, legal consequences may also apply. Understanding consequences helps me make responsible decisions. By complying with procedures, I protect my job, reputation, and the organization. I will now explain the importance of teamwork. Shrinkage prevention is a shared responsibility. Receiving, dispatch, supervision, security, and management must work together. Teamwork involves communication, consistency, and mutual accountability. When everyone follows procedures, the control environment is strengthened. I support my colleagues by working professionally and addressing issues appropriately when procedures are not followed. I will now conclude the session and link it to assessment readiness. To conclude, this session focused on KMO2, KTO4, and the roles and responsibilities of employees in preventing shrinkage and losses. We covered general responsibilities, receiving and dispatch duties, accountability, reporting, compliance, and teamwork. In assessments, you will be expected to explain these responsibilities clearly and apply them to workplace scenarios. Always remember that your behavior directly affects stock control and organizational performance. The key message from today is simple. Systems support control, but people prevent losses. When I take responsibility for my role, I contribute to a secure and efficient workplace. See you in the next session.